All right, guys, how's it going? So we have another article from Luke Edwards, the Northern football writer, I'll have you know, for The Telegraph. And it's titled, Liverpool-Newcastle rivalry has entered a bitter new era. From the 1990s 4-3 thrillers to the Isak transfer saga this summer, clubs are now direct competitors. And tensions will be high on Monday. Tensions will be high on Monday. But I don't like the way the article's framed. Before it even started, I was like, is this just like shit stuff? I don't think it's helpful to wind everyone up even more before the game, to be honest with you. But it's football, and we can't be too wet about it. But it's just saying that the rivalry has entered a bitter new era. I'm not bitter towards Newcastle United. I'm not bitter to their fans, their club, and I never will be. We've had some banter this summer with the grown-up Newcastle fans that have joined in the discussion with us when the reason I'm not here to, disrespect their club or anything. But I'm not bitter towards them. They might be bitter towards us. Hey, listen, tonight, Newcastle want to smash us in, right? Do you know what I mean? But that's football, isn't it? The setting is there. We want to beat Liverpool, beat them fuckers without Isak. That's football. But I'm not sure it's bitter. But anyway, let's see what the silly see what he's got to say. So I've gone over the article. I'm not going to read it to you. It's there if you want to read it. Google it. I've got the key bullet points, and then I've given the article, submitted the article to Dave. Dave's my AI assistant that I've been training since last year to study football articles, study the journalists that wrote them, and also the publications that push them on us, whether the websites or newspapers. And I literally article after article logged with Dave. I can call up anything at any time from each journalist, right? So it's a great wealth of information. And I'm going to go through the bullet points of the article, just to tell you what he's saying if he can't be asked to read it all, and it's very long. And then we'll see what Dave thinks, and you can tell me if you agree with him or not, all right? And maybe I will chime in as well. I mean, it is my fucking channel, isn't it? So the key points of the article, this is with focusing on Isak, obvious reasons. Liverpool approached Newcastle over a £120 million willingness, but Newcastle's £150 million valuation, plus valuation, set by PIF was designed to show he's not for sale. Remember, these bullet points are what are in the article, all right, by the journalist. Newcastle dug in and resisted all summer, per Edwards. Despite Isak wanting the move, Liverpool's £110 million bid rejected almost a month ago. Isak now on strike, refusing to play. Isak's public statement claimed promises were broken and trust is lost. Newcastle, via PIF, responded forcefully denying any promises. Edwards frames Newcastle as perceiving Liverpool are trying to bully them into selling on the cheap. Do you know what? All these journalists say these things. I genuinely think there's a good relationship in the background, and things have just, I don't think there's any nastiness in the background. I genuinely don't think so. But what do I know? Suggests Liverpool, at least privately, supported Isak's agent in his stance, though Liverpool deny this. Newcastle's position, never intended to sell Isak this summer. Edwards notes if Ekitike had signed, Newcastle may have been more open to letting Isak leave. Describes how calling it as a lose-lose situation, sell and weaken the squad, or keep an unhappy striker. Newcastle fans blame Liverpool for the mess, according to Edwards. So, let's get on with Dave. Let's see what Dave's got to say. Club messaging and propaganda. This is what I always look for in articles. I want to see if there's any club messaging and propaganda, and it can vary from journal to journal, obviously, by their relationships. Here we go. Constant repetition of PIF's authority line. £150 million plus valuation, not for sale, dug in. Constantly repeated throughout the article. Newcastle painted as victims of Liverpool's tactics with language like bully and unsettled. Heavy use of words like ferocity, of Newcastle's rejection to emphasise strength. Edwards repeatedly credits PIF as the authors of the strategy, underlining club narrative. Frames Isak as the villain, behaved appallingly, insulted club and manager. Liverpool framed as destabilising a family club, even though the bid was standard business. Contradictions from Edwards. Was there any? He flip-flops a lot, this guy, right? So I know that this is going to be full of them, I'm sure. Well, contradicting myself there, myself. Anyway, previously admitted in tweets and articles, Newcastle would consider selling if replacements like Ekitike or Shesko arrive. Today, insists Newcastle never intended to sell all summer. Claimed recently the £150 million price was set to send a message of not for sale, but if there's a price, he is for sale. Previously wrote, maybe £150 million and replacements, he could have gone. Today insists dug in all summer, never intended to sell. Flip-flops daily. Absolute resistance one day, admitting escape hatches the next. He tries to square the circle with phrases like, this may sound contradictory, acknowledging his own inconsistencies. Any positives for Liverpool fans? Do you know, I'm going to start asking Dave for some positives for Newcastle fans as well, actually. So, positives for Liverpool fans. Edwards again confirms the £150 million valuation exists. That means Isak is for sale at the right price. Admits if Newcastle had signed Ekitike, Isak's exit door was open. Proof the never for sale stance is bluff. Isak has burned bridges and is on strike. Very difficult to reintegrate him. Edwards saying lose-lose equals Newcastle are trapped. Keeping an unhappy Isak is a risk. Newcastle's defensiveness, PR spin and Edwards' contradictions all show they're rattled. So the verdict, it's a classic Edwards wobble, part club mouthpiece, part covering his back. He's losing consistency. One day it's never for sale, next day £150 million and Ekitike then maybe. Newcastle's dug-in narrative is propaganda, but the very existence of a valuation and hypothetical replacement proves it's not watertight. For Liverpool, the saga is very much alive. Newcastle are rattled, Isak is alienated, and Edwards' contradictions highlight the bluffing. It's been very interesting for me to monitor what the reporting of the Newcastle journalists, to be honest with you, because obviously I focus on the Liverpool journalists, and this is the longest, and I think the first time I've ever, in almost 30 years, almost 3 decades of doing this, I think it's the first time I've ever learnt about journalists properly at one football club, or another football club, should I say, because obviously we focus on Liverpool. So if you were to ask me about, a Liverpool journalist, I'd be able to come in at you with my opinions as to them and their reporting, their style, the people they know. And I would have obviously, stacks of data for each Liverpool journalist. When this, not Ekitike, Isak stuff started, obviously I started a log for every journalist in the Northeast. And it's been really interesting for me to see how they not behave. Well, some behave like with him, but how they deal with it, how they change a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with changing, because when you're a journalist, right, you write stuff based on the facts that you know at the time. But you have to look for the propaganda. You have to look what they're saying. And in fairness to Newcastle fans, they've said right from the start, don't listen to him. We don't even listen to him. But the problem is, don't listen to him unless I convey that message to my followers that know nothing about him. What happens on the internet is, especially on social media, is these instigator accounts, the clickbaiters, and the ones that want to push narratives, or for their own reasons, will say Newcastle journalist says. Do you know what I mean? And then Liverpool fans that might not know anything about him will go, oh, maybe we should listen to him then. So sometimes people say, why tell people if you're not paying attention to it? Because you've got to educate people. And that, no, because I'm educating myself. I never heard of this guy before this saga. And Luke Edwards, he's flip-flopped. This guy, he comes across as really really tetchy, really defensive. Like it means everything to me. I've told you loads of times. He's like that. He's like a fucking woman. You know what I mean? And it's just been really funny watching him lose his shit and that. And yes, some of the other journalists have, they've backtracked a little bit and done whatever. But for me, it's been humorous and entertaining to watch. There you go. So, we know about the Newcastle journalist now. But there you go. Anyway, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think about the article? Do you see Newcastle as a bitter rival? It says rivalry has entered a bitter new era. I don't like stuff like that, because I don't want fans to be fucking, squaring up and arguing, even in an online manner. You know, it's a fucking game of football. You know, yeah, passions are running high, and of course they want to smash us in, and we want to turn up there and beat them, don't we? So we don't need you fucking Isak. Do what we want. You know what I mean? So, but it's been entertaining. I've enjoyed it this summer. I've got to be honest with you, this saga, and whatever happens, I'm happy. I'll be happy. Honestly, I will. I'd rather be signed him after all this shit. Otherwise, what was the point of it all? But football's got a funny way. You know, it's money, innit, guys? You know, if the price is right, it'll happen. I still think he'll become a Liverpool player. I do. I don't know when, but I do. I do think that. I can't see how that he can be integrated again. I can't see how he can go back in or reintegrated. Just can't see how that can happen. And I just have this feeling Newcastle want to sell him anyway. You know, I think there's a lot of people like would take that money, like just saying, you know, and then reinvest it. But again, you got to see what Newcastle do. And to be honest, I'd rather have signed a centre back right now. But I like him, and I think it'll come to a positive conclusion. But who knows? I don't know. I'm not losing any sleep over it. Let me know what you think, guys. All right. I'll speak to you in a bit. If you found this video informative, please thumbs up the video. If you've got anything nice to say, please leave a comment. If you're a Newcastle fan, you know, look, I know there's going to be some numpty Liverpool fans as well, but not being disrespectful to your club. You're talking about stuff that your journalists are writing. Yeah, you're very welcoming. I want to hear from you. You know, if you post some abuse to me or anyone else, you'll be hidden from the channel. So what was the point of that? No one will see it. But I really do want to hear from my peoples. And yeah, thumbs up, comment. If you want to buy me a beer or a coffee, you know the drill. There's a love out under the video. You know what I mean? I don't want to go out and work for a living, guys. So yeah, the super thanks comes in handy. Thanks a lot. And I always give a shout out to people that do that in my morning briefings. They're on my other YouTube channel, Duncan Oldman. The link is, which is in the video description. It'll also be on the screen around now. The morning briefings online. Go and watch it if you're a red. All right, guys, take it easy, and we'll speak real soon.